Hey, how's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel, and I must say, being favorites is harder than chasing. I'm not gonna lie. And Arsenal are finding it out it big time at the moment. Let's be real, we cannot kid ourselves because we have been the leaders. Obviously, we have been the leaders leading the league in 22-23 season and everything, but it's not being the favorites, right? Being the favorites and leading actually is much more demanding than being the chasers or just being there, well, by circumstances. Let's just put it that way. Because 22-23 season, there was no pressure, nobody expected anything, and it felt like something unique and something special. This season, however, the stage is completely opposite. Everyone expects everything. Immediate impact. Arsenal need to win this, win that, win this. Looking at City, looking at Liverpool, Chelsea, whatever. Arsenal are the favorites. So that makes the psychological pressure. It gives the emotional pressure. It gives pressure from all ways, shapes, and forms, starting from the top, which is hierarchy of the club, continuing with the players obviously themselves, the fan base, the media, the people around. It is hella difficult because when there is no pressure, when it's an easy game, sorry, when it's a less pressure of a game, you can tell that Arsenal play more relaxed, more freely. It feels like they have less issues with actually taking that role on because there's a much bigger difference when you play. Let's just say even against your simple Brighton, right, or Wolves, ironically enough, or some other teams when you play them in the start of the season when there is less pressure, even though it's a big game, right? There is less pressure because, well, you still have loads of games to make it back, basically, if you fumble it, right? Or playing the same type of game in the last 10 or 5 games of the season, because then there is literally zero margin for error, especially if you are on top. Everyone expects you to rise to the top and stay there, and you have your rivals, like City in this case, literally one win away. Let's be real, one win away because the City's game in hand, they're gonna beat Palace most likely. I expect them at least, so it's just 2 point gap, which means they are one win away. And that is a big issue. And obviously, we have also seen the fact that now that Arsenal have established themselves, starting with 22-23 season, when they caught everyone by surprise, more or less, for the first 2/3 of the season, towards the last part of the season, obviously people started to figure shit out, and it came a bit more pragmatic at the same time. It was still free, open. Nobody knew what to expect, and we blitzed everyone. Obviously, Arteta changed something and everything. Not everyone agrees with that, including myself, but it is what it is. But now opponents know that we are the big dog. Even though we haven't won, we are the favorites. We are the measuring stick in general, because if you can get something against Arsenal, it means you can get something against anyone, right? And teams now start to set up differently against us. Obviously, it starts in a different way, different shape, different tactics, different style, different system, and hence why now we struggle. We obviously struggle. It's not the same. Genuinely, it's not the same. We saw even in 22-23 season when we played Newcastle at home, if I'm not mistaken, for the first 10-15 minutes, Eddie Howe said, well, let's just go toe-to-toe with Arsenal. And in those 10-15 minutes, we had about 6 chances to score, and we didn't, right? And then Eddie Howe shut up shop, 4-5-1, 5-4-1, drops middle, drops spaces, pushes everyone outside or packs everyone in. Half space is gone, passing lane's gone, and the game ends in a draw. First team that could do that to us at home. It was absolutely insane. And that slowly, obviously, escalated to what we see today. It has evolved to this instance where teams park the bus and do everything and this. But this is not... That's why Arsenal looks so boring. The teams park the bus, they sit back, and they hope to hit us on a counter. Well, and Arsenal need to break that. Obviously, it's on Mikel Arteta and the players to basically break that down, to figure out the style, the system. Obviously, we also see it's not working every single time, but you cannot ignore the fact that mentally, the psychological pressure from everyone is actually hella a lot. And now, obviously, with more expectations, with being the favorites, at the moment being on top with 10 games to go for Arsenal, and throughout the whole season almost, we have slower starts at times. we have more caution, and we have more expectations from everyone on themselves. Because let's be slower starts. How many times we do preview shows and talk about we need a quick goal, we need to blitz 2-3 goals, and then we can relax with the whole game. We always say that, but how often does that actually come to life? Seriously, how often does that actually come to life? Because it almost never, ever comes to life. And that is a big, big worry if you ask me in that regard. But it is what it is. That's how we must adapt. Let's be real. Obviously, then we go to more caution. We have to be more cautious. We cannot make the same mistakes. In 22-23 season, nobody expected us from us what we did, right? So there were some margins for error. We could have made a mistake in defense, in the attack, and everything. Right now, one mistake, it could cost us, and the season could be over. There is more caution, there is more pressure, there is more expectations, and these three words are always gonna be in this video, and they're gonna be a lot, I'm not gonna lie. Same goes from fans and media. Obviously, you have the pressure from Arsenal, themselves, the players, the board, and everyone else. And then, of course, there is media, and there is fan pressure as well. Let's be real, because title talk is everywhere. Champions League favorites talk to a degree is everywhere. Carabao Cup final, everywhere. Fans, I hear we are gonna win the quad, we're gonna win the treble, and all this stuff. There is pressure from everyone. It's been 6 years since Arsenal have won a trophy. It's been 20 plus years since we won Premier League. We have never won Champions League. Carabao Cup is 30 plus years. Like, the trophy drought is getting to a degree where it is just desperation settings. We are so desperate for trophies that we don't even know what to do. We just sit here and say Arsenal must do this, must do that, and they must. Obviously, they must. But at the same time, it's very, very rough. Because the title talk is everywhere, from fans, from media. That's the thing. With social media these days, players are tuned into everything, right? Media accounts everywhere, the club media account, they know everything what's going on. They've watched everything that's surrounding the club, right? And hey, it's not easy. Definitely not easy. And same goes for games, as we talked about. Like the pressure. Every draw is like a loss these days. Because for me personally, right, getting a draw, and let's just say we play 2-3 games, right? I rather 2 games. I rather win one and lose one because we get 3 points. I don't want to draw. You much rather are better off going for it, and with the potential chance of getting the 3 points, rather than playing for a draw and to a degree inevitably losing the game. It also can happen. It has happened to Arsenal this season multiple times, so we cannot escape that. It is what it is. And the social media noise, you cannot block it out. And now we turn to, well, the solutions, maybe some issues, because the squad leadership, that's the biggest thing. That's how we can calm everything down. We can resolve the issues. That's the captain, Odegaard. I have my opinions. We're not going to get into that one right now. Obviously, the demands, standards, the leaders in the team who can raise the level, who can drop the level, who can calm minds, calm nerves, do everything, obviously, right? And there's a big difference as well between talent and authority. You need to put the right players into the right places, into the right leadership roles to actually get it done, because let's be real, this team hasn't gotten over the line. We don't even have that many established winners who have done it on their own or have helped the team to get it over the line in their specific team. But we don't have serial winners. Man City have full of them, which is their biggest advantage overall into this. Obviously, Pep and rested players, right? But if we just talk from 11 point of view, the players, right? They have the winners. They know how to do it. Our team hasn't won as a unit and hasn't even lost a final as a unit. And speaking from experience, nothing beats that adrenaline feeling when you win a trophy in a final, especially if it's a close final or it's penalties or penalty shootouts and stuff like that. At the same time, even losing in a final, especially if it's close, right? You don't learn as much from anything else than that pain you get when you lose that. Because that gives you that extra incentive to train, to adjust, to improve, and go again next season and everything. But again, there's so many times you can do it until you mentally are so drained you need to reset. And the question for me is how long Arsenal does have left. Because mentally it's gonna be very draining. And of course, on top of all that, we have to talk about the manager, because manager is the be-all end-all. It starts and ends with the manager, with the squad. And the manager doesn't have to just do the tactics, doesn't have to do just the player picks. You have to do the management of the players. And not just in physically, but mentally as well. You need to talk, you need to discuss, you need to go. Maybe some players go to psychologists. Obviously, you need to calm yourself, you need to put the feelings out there so you don't get burnt out, right? Then the manager, again, he needs to pick the right 11. That is stress on its own because we as Arsenal fans, if we sit here and we talk about the starting 11, you can have six people on the panel. Bigger chances than not, you're gonna get at least 3-4 starting 11s because not everyone will want to see Martinelli start. Not everyone will want to see Trossard start. Not everyone will want to see Saka start. Not everyone will see Madueke. Not everyone will want to see Timber, and so on and so on and so on. It is actually quite insane if you think about it, right? So manager as well, he's under bigger pressure than ever because this is the season. There are lots of rumors flying around that if he doesn't win Premier League, he's gone. There are lots of rumors flying around, so he's also under a massive pressure. And of course, the trust versus control situation. Because there is one thing when you trust it, and the other thing is control. We all know that Arteta is a bit of a micromanager. He loves to overcomplicate things, oversee things too much, doesn't trust players enough. Even though in recent times, he has been a bit more calm on the sidelines. He doesn't land airplanes anymore. He's just maybe more trusting into players. And that also helps because the more Arteta has his antics on the sideline, the more it panics the players as well. Trust the players, let them do their job. Give them some freedom, let them be their own thing. Let's be real. So at the end of the day, the big questions still remain. Can Arsenal handle it? Can Arsenal handle the pressure? Can they be brave enough? Are they emotionally stable enough in these last 10 games not to crumble again, unfortunately? Obviously, there's a big difference from being hunters and getting hunted, right? But still, also, Arteta and players cannot overthink. It kills momentum. We have seen it on the pitch many times when players overthink and take so many extra touches. It's actually driving us insane. Trust your instincts. One touch bang, one touch pass, give and go, quick movements, quick sharp movements, and the defenders cannot keep up with us. We have seen this before, and it's gonna happen again. Let's be real. And of course, the big one. Titles are won by teams who embrace pressure, not hide from it. Because Arsenal, under these pressure situations, season after season, have crumbled. I hope this is the season where Arsenal actually embrace it, use that to their advantage, and finally get it over the line. So let me know what you think. Let me know how you're feeling about this pressure situation at Arsenal. Will we get it over the line? And if we will, who and what we're gonna win? Like the video, don't forget to comment, and see you soon. Peace.